Hey everyone, the potential port strike on the East Coast, it's not just your friend stockpiling toilet paper. This thing has the potential to be seriously bad. We're talking about a full-blown economic gut punch that could leave grocery stores looking like abandoned movie sets, and the worst part, most people are completely unaware of what's about to hit them. So, consider this your friendly neighborhood wake-up call. I'm going to walk you through 8 everyday grocery items that could become ridiculously expensive or even completely disappear this October. Buckle up, DFT Bay, and let's dive in. All right, let's start with something that seems pretty basic, right? Canned goods. We're talking beans, soups, veggies, fruits, all those shelf-stable heroes that get us through a busy week or a minor apocalypse. But here's the thing. Most of the metal used to make those cans, it comes in through those East Coast ports, and it's not just the metal itself, it's the machinery used to manufacture the cans, the transportation to get those cans to food processing plants, the whole shebang. A strike throws a massive wrench into the entire system. Imagine a line of dominoes, but instead of dominoes, it's cans of beans, and they're all about to topple over. Experts are predicting that even if you can find canned goods, the prices could quadruple. That can of soup that used to cost $1.50, try $6. And that's if you can even find it on the shelves. This isn't just about convenience anymore, guys. It's about basic food security. So what can you do? First, don't panic buy. Hoarding just makes things worse for everyone. But do start stocking up slowly and strategically. Look for sales, check out local farmers markets for alternatives, and maybe even dust off those canning jars Grandma used to swear by. This isn't about becoming a doomsday prepper. It's about being prepared. And maybe, just maybe, rediscovering the lost art of preserving food like our grandparents did. What about the foundation of, well, pretty much everything? I'm talking about flour and grains, bread, pasta, cereal, all those comforting staples. 80% of raw grains come through East Coast ports, massive shipments of wheat, corn, soybeans. Imagine those shipments grinding to a halt. No grains, no flour, no bread. It's like hitting the pause button on carbs, potential bread lines, rationing. And it's not just the cost of bread, pastries, crackers, tortillas, even sauces and soups, a ripple effect across the entire grocery store. Start thinking about alternatives. Experiment with gluten-free flours. Embrace ancient grains like quinoa and millet. Diversify your pantry. Don't put all your carb-loving eggs in one basket. Get creative in the kitchen. Try baking your own bread. You might discover a hidden talent for sourdough. Okay, so far we've talked about pantry staples, but what about the good stuff, the fresh produce that makes life worth living? I'm talking about fruits, those juicy, vibrant bursts of flavor that brighten up our meals and our days. Now imagine this, you walk into the grocery store ready to grab a few apples, maybe some berries for your yogurt, and bam! The price tag hits you like a ton of bricks. That single apple, $5. That small basket of berries, $25. Easy. Sounds crazy, right? Well, unfortunately, it's not that far-fetched. You see, a huge portion of our fresh fruit comes from South America and other parts of the world, and guess how it gets here? You guessed it, those very same East Coast ports. A strike throws the whole system into chaos, and those costs, they trickle down to us, the consumers. So what can you do? Well, for starters, start thinking local. Now's the time to hit up those farmers markets, support local growers, and maybe even try your hand at growing your own fruits and vegetables. It might sound daunting, but trust me, there's nothing quite like biting into a sun-ripened tomato you grew yourself. It's a stark reminder of how fragile our food system really is and how dependent we are on those global supply chains. All right, folks, brace yourselves because this one's a real heartbreaker. We're talking about chocolate. Yes, that magical mood-boosting, utterly irresistible treat that makes life a little sweeter. Now picture this, that chocolate bar you love. It's suddenly 5 times the price. That fancy box of chocolates you were saving for a special occasion. Forget about it. It's practically become a collector's item. I know, it sounds like a cruel joke, but unfortunately, it's the reality we might be facing. You see, a significant portion of the world's cocoa beans, the magical ingredient that gives chocolate its flavor, is imported through those very same East Coast ports. A strike means those shipments grind to a halt. And when the supply of cocoa beans dwindles, the price skyrockets. But it's not just about the price. Imagine walking down the candy aisle and seeing those shelves half empty, the chocolate section looking like it got hit by a hurricane of chocoholics. So what can you do? Well, you could start stocking up now, but let's be real. Chocolate has a way of disappearing quickly, right? Maybe it's time to start exploring alternative treats. Or maybe, just maybe, this is the universe's way of telling us to appreciate every single bite of chocolate while we still can. It's basic economics, but with a bittersweet twist. All right, coffee lovers, this one's for you. Imagine waking up one morning ready to brew that life-giving elixir that gets you going and bam! Your precious coffee is gone. Or worse, the price has skyrocketed to the point where it's cheaper to buy a new coffee maker than a bag of beans. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, unfortunately, it's a very real possibility. You see, a significant portion of the world's coffee beans is imported through, you guessed it, those East Coast ports. A strike means those shipments slow to a trickle, and suddenly that morning cup of Joe becomes a luxury item. We're talking $50, $75, maybe even $100 for a pound of coffee, and that's if you can even find it. So, what can you do? Well, for starters, you could stock up on your favorite beans now, but coffee has a shelf life, and panic buying just makes things worse for everyone. Maybe it's time to explore alternative brewing methods like French press or cold brew, which tend to be more forgiving with less than perfect beans. Or maybe, just maybe, this is the universe's way of telling us to slow down, savor each sip, and appreciate the simple pleasure of a good cup of coffee while we still can. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of food items, but what about the stuff we use to cook those foods? I'm talking about cooking oil, the unsung hero of countless meals. Now, imagine this. You're at the grocery store ready to grab your usual bottle of olive oil or vegetable oil, and bam! The price tag hits you like a ton of bricks. That bottle that used to be $10, try 30, 40, maybe even $50. Sounds crazy, right? Well, unfortunately, it's not that far-fetched. You see, a significant portion of the world's cooking oil, from olive oil to sunflower oil to soybean oil, is imported through, you guessed it, those East Coast ports. A strike throws a massive wrench into that system, and those costs, they trickle down to us, the consumers. So what can you do? Maybe it's time to get creative in the kitchen and explore alternative cooking methods that require less oil, like steaming, baking, or grilling. Or maybe, just maybe, this is the universe's way of telling us to appreciate the simple things like a perfectly cooked meal, and to be mindful of the resources we use. All right, folks, let's talk protein. Chicken, beef, pork, those staples that form the foundation of countless meals. Now, imagine this. You walk into the grocery store ready to stock up on your usual proteins and bam! The price tag hits you like a ton of bricks. That pack of chicken breasts, $30. That pound of ground beef, $35. Sound like a scene from a dystopian future? Well, unfortunately, it's a very real possibility. You see, while the animals themselves are raised domestically, a huge portion of the feed that sustains them, corn, soybeans, and other grains, comes through those East Coast ports. A strike throws a massive wrench into the entire agricultural system. No feed means farmers have to make tough choices. Do they absorb the skyrocketing costs, driving themselves out of business? Or do they pass those costs on to us, the consumers, in the form of astronomical meat prices? But it's not just about the price. Imagine walking through the meat aisle and seeing those shelves half empty, the selection dwindling by the day. So what can you do? Maybe it's time to start exploring alternative sources of protein like beans, lentils, tofu, or tempeh. Or maybe, just maybe, this is the universe's way of telling us to reduce our meat consumption, even if it's just a little bit, and to appreciate the preciousness of this resource. It's a stark reminder of how interconnected our food system truly is and how vulnerable it is to disruption. Meat has a shelf life, and panic buying just exacerbates the problem. We all need a little something to take the edge off these days. Those adult beverages mark the end of a long day or the beginning of a fun night. But then you see it, the price tag, that bottle of wine that used to be $20, it's now $50. Let's just say you're better off skipping happy hour altogether. Maybe it's time to explore local breweries, wineries, and distilleries, or find joy in the simple things like a good conversation with friends. So there you have it, 8 everyday grocery items that could become luxury goods practically overnight if this port strike hits. I know it's a lot to take in and it's easy to feel overwhelmed, but remember, knowledge is power. The more aware you are of the potential situation, the better prepared you can be. Start thinking about your family's needs, your budget, and your options. Maybe it's stocking up on a few extra cans of beans each week. Maybe it's exploring alternative recipes, or maybe it's simply having a conversation with your loved ones about the importance of being prepared. The point is, don't wait until it's too late. A little preparation now can go a long way in mitigating the potential chaos and stress of a major supply chain disruption. Stay informed, stay calm, and DFTBA.